Our first guest, a friend of the program, Karl Schilling. He's the founder of the Advocacy Group. Karl, always a pleasure having you on the program.
Oh, it's great. Thanks, Don. Always love coming on.
We had a fascinating discussion last time on the program, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we determined that the biggest financial victimizer for consumers is actually our federal government.
Yes, you go all the way back into the 80s, coming out of horrible recession, right? And then having a bit of an economic boom. During that period of time, they created something. It was kind of a crossover from they created something called ERISA, which was a retirement planning system because they wanted to get away from defined benefit plans, right? Big corporations were big on defined benefit plans, and those were great. So they wanted to turn it into a defined contribution and have more people save for themselves. And this was under the guise of, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. And and again, I was part of that. I drank the Kool-Aid because I was in the industry and I sold many, qualified plans. Okay. So I was guilty. And then it dawned on me finally, in looking at it, what was the ulterior motive? What was going on here? So basically, people took a tax deduction for a period of time when they were in the lowest tax bracket possible, deferred those taxes to the future with a government as your partner. And the government got to make all the decisions. The government got to determine what the tax rate would be, when it would be. The government got to determine how much you have to take out, when you have to take it out. The government would determine if you could take it out. And they had all the rules. And then I realized, okay, that's a form of financial victimization. So if you're in a 401k, if you're in an IRA, you're being financially victimized.
Well, it's amazing because there's so many examples of this in history. The alternative minimum tax was supposed to be just for the rich. It's hitting the middle class. Every time we talk about taxes in this country, especially from the left, they're always saying, well, we're going to make the rich pay their fair share. The rich do pay their fair share, more than 70% of all income taxes.
Absolutely. And nobody pays attention to that. But where is the money? I mean, think about it. I was talking to some clients the other day saying, the 87,000 new IRS agents, right? And that they're going to come after the people who are already paying 70% plus. Well, think about that. That don't add up. The people who are already paying 70% plus, there's no more to drag in there. There's no more to drag in. But you get to those people under 400,000, and guess what? There's a lot. There's a lot to be grabbed there. So I really believe that that's where it's coming. It's going to hit the mass affluent. If you're mass affluent, you better cover up because they're going to start looking closer, and they're going to start taking pennies out of your accounts. So, pay attention.
Well, you had a blog recently where you were encouraging people to tap into their home equity to fund entrepreneurship. Why don't you explain that to us?
Okay, I think like you, Don. For whatever reason, the entrepreneurial spirit in our country is strong, always has been strong, but it's never been kind of passed on. It hasn't been an educational process. We don't teach kids in school to be entrepreneurs. We teach kids in school to get a job, stay for years, trade time for money. The old story, right? So it's reflected upon me that the most successful people in life are people who have gone out and created something for themselves. So business wise, and there's plenty of businesses. So I've been telling different people about their home equity. Now, your home equity, you for those who have any, okay, but most people, there's a good portion of people have home equity, but the prices of a real estate are getting ready to bottom out. So what people don't realize is that as the prices come down, your home equity disappears, right? It evaporates. So you don't have any home equity. Now you may have bought the home and put money in and bought a home for 200 and 250 and put in 50,000. Now the prices come down. Now suddenly you're underwater and your equity's gone. So I tell people, if you get your equity now, it's not a risk because you're betting on yourself. If you get your equity now and you put it into a business, some form of a business, and there's many of them out there, Don, especially coming in recession. There's recession-proof businesses all over that you can invest in and get into for very little money, right? So if you do that, you could turn, say, $50,000 worth of equity into $75,000 a year. possibly $100,000 a year, right? Ongoing. So you can easily cover yourself if the home goes underwater because you've got a business. But there's going to come a point where you can't get your equity out. One, because it's evaporated, and two, because the banks will shut down. They don't want, they don't want people pulling out the equity. So the time is right now. It's a great time to pull out your home equity before interest rates rise more. It's the right time.
Well, that's good advice because following the habits of wealthy people, they have passive income from multiple sources.
You need three types. The rule of financial independence is pretty simple. You need three types of income. You need direct income, you need residual income, and you need passive income. And people still, I think the one mistake, I know we got to go quickly, but I will share this with you, Don. The one mistake I think people make in their mindset is they compare, having a job, versus taking this risk and jumping out of a fixed income into some world where they have no guarantees, right? When that doesn't have to be the case. People can keep their jobs, they can keep their security in their mind, and they can still build business. And they can build business until they feel comfortable that I no longer need this security because I built my own security and now I'm ready to go. But people see it as an either or. And I try to tell clients it's not. I'm not telling you leave your job. I'm saying build on top of it so that you build a security that you can then decide for yourself that I want to be totally independent. I want to be free of this world. I don't want this thing going on.
Well, Karl, how many people have you met over the years that just absolutely hate the job that they're in, but they stay in it for the security?
I have to say pretty much everybody, unless, and even them. I used to work a lot with doctors, and I would have found that doctors would have been a different breed in the sense that you would have felt like from humanity and what they wanted to do and their nature of wanting to help people, they'd be happy. They're not. Even doctors, especially, since Obamacare and especially since some of the changes, doctors are not happy. Lawyers are not happy. Dentists are historically unhappy. So, and these are the real professionals who can provide very good direct income. But even them, in the case of residual income and in the case of passive income, a lot of times they miss the boat and then they don't become financially independent.
Well, Karl, your organization, the Advocacy Group, has helped a lot of people over the years. You always have sage advice. Appreciate you bringing it to us again here in the program. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the time, Don. Have a great day.